Welcome back, beautiful humans and my Stardust souls. Today we are joined with Shakira Arcane, the creator of Black Girl Flourish, and she has not one but two decks out right now. One which is one of my absolute favorites, the Black Girl Flourish Affirmations, and then she just launched your second deck, right?
Yep, I just launched my second deck, which is the Fuck It Up Sis affirmations for bougie Black girls that love trap, and I'll show you kind of just the front of it right there.
They are amazing. And you can pick different like color schemes, right? And even like personalize the deck, right?
Yeah, you can. So I just started to kind of do that. So for example, you can see like the colors here, like this, like yellow, but you can change them. Instead of it being like Fuck It Up Sis, you can have it be like, my name's Shakira. So Fuck It Up Shakira, Fuck It Up Panda, like whatever you want, plus your favorite colors. Cause I think that helps. Like for me, I was like, yeah, that would be amazing to be able to like see my name on a card and like when I pull it. So I do customize them as well for folks, colors or names. And even if the cursing ain't your ministry, cursing is my ministry. So apologies all as we get into this mix. I also can change it. So I got like Kill It Sis or You Got It Girl.
Okay.
I've had folks say like, I would love these for youth. And that wasn't initially
right.
That was initially, I was building for me. So, and your girl ain't young no more, even though, you know, like don't cry. But I can change it for youth because if it feels like a little, for some folks, they're like, oh, the curse, even though there's an asterisk, I don't know. So.
Okay, that's awesome. So just tell us about you. So what brought you to all this? Tell us everything.
Yeah, sure. So I am like, I'm a lawyer by trade, actually. And so I haven't practiced law. I know, random. I haven't practiced law in quite some time. But I was practicing law for a little bit and then was just like, this doesn't feed my soul. So I'm out. A lot of people are like, word, because those loans. Right. Jesus. But that's fine. So I decided to shift from law into youth development and education. Like the thing that was feeding my soul while I was a lawyer was really working with youth, kind of volunteering. And I was like, well, why am I doing that when I could, like, why am I a lawyer and doing that on the side? Let me just do that full time. And then sitting in that space. So I'm originally from the Bronx, but I was practicing law in Chicago. So I came back to New York and I came back to the Bronx and I lived in my mama's basement for a little bit in that transition because I came back without a job. So that was a whole other thing. And decided to get into youth development work and things like that and nonprofit stuff. And so that's where I still sit. That's my like official full time. And then the deck piece and just the creative side is still like my outlet, right? And so I like to say that I'm like an idea girl and there's like a little light bulb over my head all the time. And I think even being in the youth development space allow that to happen a bit because if you've ever worked with teens or kids as a whole, they're like always just like thinking and creating and there's just like this energy. So that is really nice. And so as I was saying, I think right before we started this, I also just love cards in general. So I've got a bunch of tarot decks, I got oracle cards, but then I love like game cards and I love like anything, a card, if words and a card, put them together, that's my life. I love it. And so for me, that was kind of the natural, it felt like just another creative outlet for me when I started with the original Black Girl Flourish deck, which is the one that you have. And then I just wanted to see myself. Like I wanted to see myself on an affirmation deck. I wanted it to be like, I'm about Black women, straight up and down. And so I wanted something that was like, by us, for us, by me, for us. And so that's where I started. And that was like my impetus. And so I was pulling my own deck. A lot of what I do is literally like made for me because I'm like, I need this thing. I need affirmations.
But how beautiful is that you created something you needed and it resonates with so many other people. Like the rest of us needed it too. Like, yeah.
And I think and there are times where people are telling me, like, when you were like, hey, I love this deck. And I was like, wow, do you? Right? Like, there's pieces where it's like, I'm literally just creating this for me. And if people like it, and I should say that, like, even people I had this deck, that original deck is 2 years old. So I initially designed it in 2018. So soon to be 3 years old. And it didn't kind of like pick up until fairly recently. I had it sitting in like Etsy because I was like, well, again, it was just for me, but I'll throw it on Etsy. Let's see what happens. And it has just started to pick up, which is interesting.
That's so exciting. So tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey and like how creating this and putting something like this out in the world and seeing it out in the world. I see your decks everywhere now on Instagram, like, cause I'm like subscribed to the tags. So like, I see it, I see other people using it. I'm like, yes, but that has to feel really good for you. It has to be healing.
No, it feels like amazing. I think there is a part too where I will honestly say that I was scared to do it. And I have never, so there are things where like I consider myself a creative, but really, like I said, I'm a lawyer by trade. So like that is not necessarily like the most creative space. In fact, it is like the opposite. So to kind of figure out like, I really want this thing. I want it for myself. Maybe other people will like it. It was actually kind of scary to do. And it still is very scary. Like there is a place sometimes where I'm like, are people gonna like it? Like, and then to see all of this like really good feedback and to hear people say to me, especially with this, both decks folks love, but especially with my newer deck, to hear people say like, it feels like I'm talking to my homegirl. And that's the only thing that I like ever wanted. This is like I am an only child. And so I'm always here. I'm an only child for my mom. I have two half sisters that I did not grow up with. So I have all the cousins though, but I'm always thinking about like, I always want to create like sisterhood and I always want to create like a tribe. And when I initially started Black Girl Flourish, I did like the most. I was like, I'm going to create a Facebook group and I'm going to do this and I'm going to try to cultivate this and I'm going to burnt out real quick on that. It was like, burnt out real quick. But this has been like, almost like organically creating a tribe, right? Like I'm stalking your stuff out now. Like I feel like because of the cards, I'm like creating the tribe that I tried so hard to like force almost. And I'm just like organically meeting women and it feels like so good. It feels so good.
Yeah. Well, and I know that like, so like 9 months ago when we first talked, you were like, I'm tearing everything down. I'm rebuilding, I'm rebranding, and I'm coming back with like, we're starting over. And so this is almost like Black Girl Flourish 2.0. Like, yeah. So you've like redone and come back. And so like, how does that feel? And what do you have going on now?
Yeah, so that feels like amazing. So again, when I first started, it was in 2018. So almost 3 years ago now. In fact, it was 3 years ago because I feel like, I don't know if this is what everyone does, but you know how like the beginning of the year, you like, yes, I'm going to start a thing in January. So because it's the beginning of the year and yes, and on this new moon, it's going down, right? Like all of it. And so it was in January 2018 that I started. And like I said, I was trying to do like so much and it just wasn't flowing as organically. And then I kind of like let it die, to be honest. Like I just was not cultivating. I wasn't creating the community. And then like, yeah, when you reached out, I was like, girl, I got to get it together. I'm gonna figure it out. I got some things in the works. I gotta like revamp. And so I did that, and I did that in a way that felt more organic to me and more like I was just in a better space. I was also just really in a better headspace. I was in, as compared to 2018, one of the things I was dealing with was, this is like a whole other aside. My husband is not from the United States. He's from Cuba. And so I was in 2018 also dealing with immigration stuff. Like I just had so much going on. But at the beginning of kind of this year, and really it was towards the end. So about November 2020, things had just like cleared up and it was like timing. And it's interesting, this morning we just had like this like little affirmation talk session on Clubhouse. And one of the things that we were talking about is just like letting time mend things. And I feel like time mended like my fear to a certain extent, my like in my clarity, like time helped me get clarity.
Yeah.
So that space allowed for me to come back and be like, all right, the logo's new, this is
it
new.
is.
Like, I'm gonna I'm paring it down also. Like if you notice, even if you go back and look at like my old logo, it's beautiful, but there's like flowers everywhere, girl. I don't even know how you put that on something. So I said, everything got to come on down, like bring it down and like really center yourself in what you're thinking through. So that has been great. And so things on the horizon, something that happened that I did not anticipate. I thought this was going to be like my creative outlet, right? And it turned out other people want to have a similar creative outlet, but don't necessarily know how to go about doing it like the literal logistics of creating a card deck, getting it manufactured, making sure you release it, and the this and the that. Yeah. And so what I ended up having happen is after I released that deck was a bunch of people coming to me saying, hey, can you help me create one too? I've had this idea, but like, I just don't even know where to start. And so beyond me being creative, what it turns into now is like me also helping other people kind of tap into their own creativity and put something out into the world for other folks. And so that is where I think I'm eventually going. I'm starting to call myself the card queen, the queen of cards. I don't know. Something's gonna go down in that space just so I can help people also like make their dreams come to fruition. And so I've got a couple of folks who, and I'll show you, and it's like across the spectrum, right? So like, I've got, this is my mama's deck. So I shout out my mom. But my mom was like, I want a deck too. I was like, okay, girl, I got
That's
you.
Awesome.
So she has a nonprofit organization that's around like caregivers. So she wanted to do like an affirmation deck specifically for caregivers. And then she also is a nurse. So she was thinking about frontline workers, especially through, of course, like this Corona space. So I did this like I am more than essential deck for her.
Wow.
And so, and like on the back of that deck, we've got, and it's like, it's intentionally supposed to be kind of across the spectrum, right? So like, cause people don't think of like folks as who is essential, right? Like listen, your UPS man is essential because Lord knows I wasn't leaving my house. And
they never stopped working.
Never stopped working. So it's a bunch of affirmations for folks who are essential workers that just like need it. And then I had somebody reach out to me about youth gymnasts. And she wanted to do, because her daughter, she's Black woman as well, young girl. She's a gymnast of color, right? Like she's Black gymnast, which is not the scene as much, right? And she wanted to do an affirmation deck for youth gymnasts. So I said, okay, well, let's figure this out. And so we created this little, like, I got this.
Oh, cool.
It's really cute. And she wanted to do it in like a mini form. So there's just like little baby mini decks. It's so cute for the children. I love it.
That's awesome.
Like one of my favorite decks ever is this like little baby deck. And you can see it like I have a powerful voice, right? And so, yeah, so now that's what I'm doing next is just like helping people bring their ideas to fruition, which I love. Like that is like, if I can help you, man, I love it. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the decks have brought me to, I don't know, places that I didn't even, none of that was in my mind, like none of it.
Well, and that's so brave. Like so many people stay chained to those things that don't feed their soul because it's what society expects of you and because you did go to school. And I just got done watching a thing that says people like will literally not pursue further education because they'll be like, oh, the money or the debt, or they will stay with a career even when it's not meant for them because they're like, oh, this and that. And that's really not how you like should look at things, because you're like, yeah, you have this investment, but like your life space and like your life force is like a bigger investment and you're wasting that. And so after like listening to this other point of view, when all you hear from other people is like, this is what it looks like to be successful. This is what you should do with, you know, you should graduate, you should go to a 4-year college, you should then go on and do this and those kind of things. So like, it's really hard to like break that and then pursue the things that like fulfill you. So like I'm the same way. I went to school to be a surge tech and I don't work as a surge tech because it just wasn't fulfilling to me, but I carry that debt, but I'm much happier and I've touched so many people. But also like I wish that someone would have said to me like, what makes you happy? Like what, you know what I mean? Like I wish, yeah, I don't even know, but yeah. And
all of that, right? Like, and it's so important, like the idea that I don't know if you're familiar with the actor Hill Harper. Black dude, what the heck is Hill Harper hasn't done stuff in forever. Either way, he went to law school with Barack Obama. He graduated from Harvard Law. That man never practiced a day in his life. He went straight from Harvard Law to a local like diner to be a waiter because he knew he wanted to be an actor. Right. And there was something in he had this book and he said, like, I went to school to get more education, to have more opportunities, right? Not less. And so sometimes people pigeonhole you based on like the education. So of course, if you got a law degree, the only thing you could do is be a lawyer. Why? They're lawyers, like what? It's education, right? Like I went to be more educated, not to be pigeonholed into something that wasn't going to feed me or fulfill me. I think when I transitioned, it's so interesting. When I transitioned out of law, I was doing like college counseling for students. I was kind of doing all sorts of stuff in the youth development space. And I still now to this moment, I'm trying to pass this on to my little baby cousins where I'm like, yo, I am now that auntie that's like, what do you want? What feeds your soul?
Yeah.
I am like hippie auntie in the corner, like, let's just try some stuff.
Yeah.
This. Because I went and I did all the things, right? Like, we're told to be excellent in all spaces. We're told to go through and get all the education.
And if you're Black, you have to be more than excellent at all times.
Like, I did everything right. And I still was like, I'm unhappy as fuck.
Yes.
Oh, I'm now like, don't go to college. No, like I'm a hot mess. Like, don't bring your children around me because I'll have them out here being full artists. I will have them out here doing other stuff.
Yeah.
What they'll be backpacking through, I don't know where. Like, and this is from the girl who did all of the education, right? Because it just doesn't. It didn't feed my soul. And I watched when I left law. I want to tell you the amount of people that were like, "Yo, I just wish I could do what you did." But I have kids now, and I have a house, and I have a mortgage, and they had all these trappings that. For me, I was pretty young still. I was like, all I got is a lease, and that's finna be up, so I'm out. I got to go. But so many people were like, wow, I wish I could do what you did, which was so like, it was affirming for my decision, but also was very sad to hear because I was like, yeah, y'all here just unhappy. Woo, y'all know. Mm-mm.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, that's so huge. And that's how I am with my children. So I have 3 children and I'm just like, you don't have to go to college. Like, you don't have to like, yeah, like your American dream is going to look like whatever you want it to look like, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It could look like making cards.
Yeah.
Like, as I talked to my mom about it, she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, don't worry. It's going to work out, girl.
It'll be okay. Yeah. I believe in it.
Yeah. Like, with your law degree. Yes. Yeah.
So tell us, aside from your decks, of course, what is your favorite deck? Like, what got you started with decks? Like, do you have any favorite decks that you use or?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I have, and I'm not going to move too much because I don't want to mess with y'all. I forgot to grab it before we started. So one of the things that I started to use, and even though she apparently has disavowed this deck, but I'm
not. Are you going to say Doreen Virtue to me?
You already know.
All right, let's go.
Ooh, Jesus. Yeah, so I have it here. Yes.
Okay.
Guidance, right? And so that was one of my like almost like it was one of my faves, one of my like intro to, and I was introduced to it by dope women. They're their website, or they're called Brujas of Brooklyn, right? Okay. Like went to the Brooklyn. I actually went to college with them, and they're dope. They're just dope as a whole. And I went to an event. They did what's that thing called that we do every year? And I'm blanking on it right now. Vision board. They did a vision board event, and as a part of the way that they did the event was just like dope. And it was very like, it gave us a chance to really get in tune with ourselves. One of the first things that they did on the way in was the goddess guidance. They spread it, right? Face down. And then they told everyone to kind of just like pick one, right? Whatever moves you. And then you didn't get a chance to look at it though, until it was time for us to kind of like share out. So folks had a chance to look at it. see how it related to either their future or past, right? In terms of like what happened in the previous year or what are you hoping for in the new year? And it was just dope. And I was like, oh, I'm moved by these. And so I tended, and then I bought them. And then I started to kind of like use those just kind of for myself. I started to use them even in my practice and like talking with folks, or if I did an event, I always brought out the goddess guidance. And then once I did my deck in 2018, I replaced that with like my deck, right? Where I was like, oh, here are these Black ladies on here. Pull an affirmation. Let's talk about it. Like, but that is one, I still break those out kind of every now and again.
So, okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're on Clubhouse now. And so do you do like a regularly, like a week podcast or what do you got going on over there?
Yeah. So again, with like building community, if I was selling another deck, I don't even care. As long
I
as
need you to tell me like everything. I just joined Clubhouse and I'm so old. I don't know what it is or where I'm at, but like I'm on Clubhouse, but I haven't done anything on there. I don't know about it. So
great. So I met on Instagram. Somebody actually bought my deck and then started to follow me on Instagram. The Fuck It Up Sis one, and her name is LaQuanda Shepherd. Shepherd, yes, that LaQuanda's last name. See, when you calling people by their first name. But she does alter therapy. She's a Black woman therapist. And we kind of just like connected. She was like, oh, I love your deck. Well, let's talk about affirmations. So now every Monday at 8:45 on Clubhouse,
okay,
we do an affirmation, like the breakdown. And so what we do there is we talk about affirmations. LaQuanda usually has some activities for us, right? We ask people to kind of just reflect on what they got going on, any affirmations that they want to bring to the table. We usually have an affirmation kind of that gets said out loud for the week. And then we'll have like an activity or two where folks can create some affirmations alongside with us. And it's honestly, I feel like sometimes it's just a really like reaffirming and healing space, because you get to hear folks talk about like whether that is imposter syndrome or just like, yeah, this is how you're feeling sometimes, and this affirmation is the thing that gets me through. So we do that once a week. Monday at 8:45 a.m. is where we're at right now. We're kind of like playing with the times to see how many people join, to see if it's too early, too late, things like that. But so your point about Clubhouse, get on here. It's a nice platform if you don't get like sucked into it too crazy. Because that's the thing, like people be on Clubhouse and don't sleep. And I'm like, what y'all doing?
Wow.
Like legit, I've been in a room and this girl was like, yeah, I've been here for 48 hours. I haven't slept. Girl, what? If you don't go to bed and get off this app. But it's, you're listening to the conversations. One of the things that I love about Clubhouse is you can like pop in and out of conversations. I think one of the things that's made it really popular is because sometimes stars just pop up into Clubhouse and just pop on randomly. So you could be in a room. I was in a room and all of a sudden like Ava DuVernay came in the room and was like, so let me tell y'all about directing. And everybody was like, oh, okay, girl. Didn't know you was on there.
Wow. So it's just like everybody.
Literally everybody. But Clubhouse didn't get popping until Black folk got in there. Because it's been around for I think a year or two.
Really?
Just recently it like skyrocketed because folks got on, and then you hear a lot depending on who you're following and stuff like that. Like I've gotten a lot of free game up in there, right? Like this is how you create people are literally like, this is how you create a journal or create a book or write a book without ever actually having to write. Or how you do this or how you do that. There are people, there are VCs that are in there, venture capitalists that are like just floating around. I've been in rooms where they've been like pitch rooms and people have gotten like hundreds of thousands of dollars of VC money just off of somebody saying, this is my app idea. We're pitching here. It's a really interesting place.
So tell me, so these are like rooms, you go in like rooms, you go to somebody's lecture or something, and are you like on camera?
No, so it's all audio.
Okay.
So it's all audio. You're not on camera. All you're hearing is voices. So there are different clubs, and in those clubs, there can be different rooms. So you could like go on right now and just start a room about, let's say, affirmations or like Black Tarot readers, right? And
okay.
You start the room and the title is Black Tarot readers. And as I'm scrolling through, if I see that is a room that interests me, I'll just hop in to hear what you're talking about. Or you can get a group of folks and be like, yo, if we're all on Clubhouse, let's have a conversation. Like, let's have a conversation. Let's schedule it out. And then invite people. Like, you'll see on my Insta, I'm always like, see y'all on Monday, or like the chat, or follow us.
I'm gonna come check one out so I know.
So you can come and and you can create community there. I think lots of folks are creating community there, which is nice. That's the thing that getting some free game to be like, oh, how y'all millionaires? Let me come through. And then also creating community is a fun time. Like this Saturday, I was in, and sometimes it's just fun. Like I was in a chat that was about Love Jones, and we did like these questions about Love Jones. It was called Love Jones Revisited, and it was like a game show almost, where it was like, all right, who's got the most points and can answer these questions? So sometimes it's fun stuff like that too that's randomly happening in Clubhouse. Okay. But you can talk to somebody that's in London, right? Like it's dope. It's dope in that way.
Yeah, I will definitely check it out. So you're Monday at 8:45, and I will get your link, and I will put I'll put all of the stuff down below so you can get both of the decks. You can find her on Clubhouse, Instagram, all that stuff. I'll put it all down below. But yeah, so I'll pop in because, like I said, I haven't done anything, but in like all of my like Black Girl tarot groups, Black Girl witch groups, like spiritual groups, they just like blew up, and they were like, add me. Does anyone have invitations? Here's an invitation. I have 10 extra, like this, not whatever. And I was just like, I was on the thread, and I was like, you don't know any of these people, but I'm just like, what's up? And someone's like, go request your name right now. And I was like, well, but what do we? And she's like, go request your name right now. And I was like, okay. So yeah, so I'm there, but yeah, I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about during your creative process, like for creating the deck, what did this journey teach you? What kind of challenges did you run into when bringing this deck to life? Like, what have you learned that you did differently with the Fuck It Up Sis? Like just tell us about it.
Yeah. So I think with my original deck, and so I'll make sure, this is the original one, right? The one that you got. I think some of the things that I ran into in the creative process with this specifically was that there's a place where I felt like I was trying to be too much love and light, right? Like trying to be too, just some of it is authentic to me, but some of it I was like, I really wanted to like uplift people or this or that. Like, I think I was in my head too much with the creating and trying to like make sure, because the reality is with this deck, I had a real plan. I was like, okay, I am going to do 3 areas. The red cards are love and the green cards are health and wellness. And, right. And like, it was really intentional in that way, which that feels, for me, sometimes that feels like the lawyer in me was like, this is how I'm going to get this together. This is how I'm going to attack the plan. Right. And that I didn't do that with the Fuck It Up Sis deck. With the Fuck It Up Sis deck, I was like, I'm gonna just write some stuff down in the Google Excel spreadsheet. Yes. I love that too. And so they feel good to me, but I was like real intentional. This one, I was just like, I was in the moment. I might've been drinking. I don't know. And I was like, what I'm gonna do is just sit here and I'm gonna write down some of the ways that I just talk to myself. And if it spans different areas, like I didn't have a goal even around like how many affirmations I wanted. I just was like going. So I just kind of let the spirit move me a bit more to say like, all right, Shakira, this is you, this is your shit, this is how you talk to yourself, just go. And that's literally kind of how that one came out versus the original deck where I was like, I want to do love and business. And I was just like, let me just let it rap.
Yeah, what happens, happens.
Yeah, like whatever happens, happens. So that's a bit different in terms of my creative process. And then with the Fuck It Up Sis deck, I went and with both of them, like the original, that image I had created. I hired someone to create.
Did you draw this? Is this a picture? What is this? She's gorgeous.
This is an illustration that I had someone like design for me.
Okay.
And I said, I had seen a picture similar to that with just like the color splotches. And I was like, I love the color splotch over. Let me see if I can get somebody to design something similar for me. And so I had somebody do that. And then with the Fuck It Up Sis deck, I use those commercially available Canva images and said, let me get this together in here, right? And so I went through and like, you know, thankfully with a lot of, these are like vector images. So I was like very intentional around like trying to make sure I got like, so this is where the intentionality I think came in for me. I like certain colors. So I got to change the coloring. I wanted to make sure like skin tone was across the board because it's for Black women and Black women look different all over. So you finna be light skin over here, you finna be dark skin over there. And so I did that, like, that was an intentional kind of decision to make sure that kind of represented the spectrum of Black women. But I did like the actual design of the card, right? Like I did that. And so and as I was doing it, I was like, okay, this feels good. Yes. And what's interesting to me is that Fuck It Up Sis deck, the affirmations, I want to say I wrote the affirmations in an hour, maybe I sat down and was just like, yes, that's how I feel. That's how I talk to myself. Yes. And it just came like really quickly. So I don't know if that was divine inspiration or what.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah.
Well, and knowing what you needed. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that. I need to get the next deck.
Yeah. Drop some. As we're talking, I'll do a couple of, let's see.
Oh my gosh. I love
hard.
Yes. Look at her too.
Yeah. So a lot of these, I'm just like, I love them. I'm dope. Thank you for coming to my.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
That's all. Right. And so some of these, like, I really love, like, this one, especially because I'm currently on rest. It says, I will take time for rest because being tied and cute, and I'm cute. That's just it. That's how I be feeling.
I love that.
I sleep. That's too much. I ain't trying to be out here with these bags.
Right. Okay. So for your deck, like, how do you feel, or like, how do you encourage people, like, especially when you do like your Clubhouse talks and stuff, which I will drop into, but like, do you encourage people to do like journaling or just one card pulls, or like just in the mornings or whenever you're feeling it? What do you think?
Yeah, so with this, I was thinking, I tell people to either do like a card a week. I tend to do a card a week, and let that, and whatever the start of your week is, all right, Sunday, Monday, whenever your week starts, and that is like the theme that I pull through or attempt to pull through my week. I have a little card holder, so that like once I pull the card, I drop it in the holder and it like sits there so that it's always in front of me, which is nice. And so I encourage folks to do weekly. I know people that sometimes they just be like in their bag, and so they pull it if you're stressed, right? Like grab a quick card, because especially if you're stressed, I feel like in this space of this deck, the Fuck It Up Sis deck for sure, will get you out of that. My original deck, there are 52 affirmations in there for you, and I was intentionally thinking about you pulling a card a week. And so you could actually, in my original deck, pull a card a week from like January 1 through the entire year.
That's amazing. And I really appreciate like just that it's kind of like the sharp, because sometimes that's what I need to hear to like get out of something. Like I don't need a whole paragraph of super flowery, like flurry, like self-help stuff. Sometimes I just need, just like your best friend would be like, girl, get your shit together and like let's go do this. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly how I feel. Like that was the intention. There's times where I'm literally looking in the mirror and I'm like, bitch, you better kill it. Yes, go. Or like when I'm just trying to hype myself up. And so that deck is like pure hype. It's pure nothing but just hype style. And then my original deck is more like, all right,
self-care.
Yeah, let me self-care. Let me get my shit together. I am worthy. Like this other deck is just like, okay, kill a hoe.
Yeah.
It's like full ratch. That's it.
And I think that like, I mean, not only are they both super relatable, but I think in life we all go through those periods where it's like you need a little bit more self-care, and then after you can do that for yourself, then you're like, okay, I'm ready to bring it. Like it's here. Like we've leveled up. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'm at bad bitch status and like I don't care. Like
yeah, and I think, you know, we're multifaceted, right? Like none of us are the same. We are never, I'm not the same shit. You catch me early in the day, I'm different in the evening. Like I might have switched up on you in 12 hours. Like now actually I'm feeling pensive right now. Like
yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so really helpful. I think even I know you were asking like what's on the horizon too. So I'm here for all things ratchet, but I'm also like here for all things spiritual. And then I'm also like here for all things Jesus. Like I got all these things going on at any given point, right? Like, so I am absolute, like I'm a believer, but I'm gonna also tell you to burn that sage. I'm also gonna be like, look at this oracle deck. Like I do all of these things. And so I think the next thing that's gonna come up is this like other facet of who I am, which is, yeah, I'm a believer, right? Like, yeah, I believe in the baby Jesus and all of that. So I've got like this other space where I'm ready to get my like righteous and ratchet deck together. That is probably going to be more focused on like scriptures that I happen to like and that like move me. In addition to the way like I actually talk to myself when I be like, Jesus, please. I tell people all the time, ooh, like I'm sure Jesus is ready to punch me dead in my face. Like there are times where like things have like come my way and I'm sure my man is like, but girl, didn't I just give this to you and you still just out here just doing other shit? I don't know if Jesus actually cursing me out, but sometimes I feel like he must be. Like, I don't know. So yeah. That's how it shows up for me. And so I feel like there's probably some other ratchet and righteous, you know, folks out there that can appreciate whatever that deck drops.
That's totally my energy. Like I'm always, you know, here for healing and like this and that, but it's just a little bit more sharp. And I love, like, you know, when you see like people fighting on the internet and then somebody drops like that picture of Jesus and he's like, I saw that. Like that's how I feel. Like, yeah, sometimes like the universe is looking at me like we saw that. Like we see what you're doing.
Because I tell you all the time, my Jesus flipped tables. Don't trip.
Okay, so what advice would you give to aspiring deck creators, aside from that they can come to you to help create the deck?
Come through, I got y'all. But also I think let it be organic if it can be. So you know, I'm here for like I sit down. I thankfully am blessed enough to have like a space where I can like I sit on my little chair in my office and all this other jazz, but I will light a candle in a heartbeat. I'll grab some wine in a heartbeat. But like whatever it is that is going to open yourself up to let whatever that spirit is that move you to be able to tap into yourself, I would say absolutely do that. Because when that, especially my second deck, when that came out, I was like, I birthed something, or it was just like, it was so natural to me. And I think that that's the energy that people are feeling and vibing off of right now. And so whatever you can do in your creative space, whether that is finding a nice quiet space, or maybe that is actually turning on the trap music because that's what gets you hyped and kind of into your creativity, right? Then do that. And then go ahead and sit down and get it done. Like you can do it, right? And whether that is, and then I would also say, not whether it's me or anybody else, like don't be, because I think some of my creation was also collaborative in that I had my cousins in the group chat like, yo, I'm finna write this. Like, what you think about this, right? And they were like, yeah, I love that. Or even when I was thinking about images, I definitely pushed some images out to people that I cared about to be like, what does this look like? How you feel about this? How you feel about this? Is this cool? So don't be afraid to be collaborative either, right? Like, and I think that was a fear that I had potentially in my first deck where I was like, I never created anything. Like, I don't know if other people, if you're out there and you're actually like creating things, like I'd never seen a project of mine to be like a physical product, a physical thing that like I could touch and feel, right? And that wasn't just like ideas or something. And so when I got a chance, and so I was a little scared about that. But when I got a chance to actually like see it printed and like all of that, I was just like, wow, like I did that. And so y'all can also have that same experience, right? Like it's not hard. Even if you're like a regular ass printer in your house and with a glue stick, or just get the card deck, like the hard paper, you know, do it. Do it with some scissors. Check it out, right? Do whatever you need to do. Because I think there's something also in that physicality. Like once you see it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I did that. So all of those things, tap into your creativity. Yeah, see if you can get something like physically tangible, because I think that moves you. And then don't be afraid to like bounce some ideas off people you love and trust.
Yeah, I really love that. Like, I feel like people have such a set view of what spirituality should look like or should be, and that it's this really like sober kind of thing. And so like when I do altar work, like sometimes I do that to like the really like flute meditation work, like music, or the spa music, and then sometimes I do it to Cardi B. Like, you know what I mean?
Listen, that part. I'm trying to, yeah. Yes, I'm trying to convince my husband right now to get this up situation together. Like, yo, we can go viral. He's not trying to hear me at all. He ain't with it. He ain't with it. He's gonna turn that Cardi B down right now.
I think I saw you guys. No, I think you guys did like the TikTok, like did you guys do like the Bust It challenge?
We did. Yes. And I'm old, and therefore, well, two things. So I was like, oh, my knees. And was also like, I don't even know how to cut this thing up. Like, how does children doing it? And so
I don't know. Like they're making whole movies, like whole movies.
I ain't even making these movies. Yeah, so we tried. So I was trying to convince him to do this Cardi B. He wasn't with it. I'm gonna get it. But no, it is that, right? Like, it's just like, it makes me think too about like what people believe around spirituality, right? And like, so sometimes, and it makes me think about yoga too, and how like I am a certified yoga instructor.
Okay.
I've now done this twice. These yoga. I've done it twice now. Have I taught yet? Not one class? No, I have not taught not one class. I'm more doing it for myself.
Yeah.
But there was like, there's a whole thing too in this like yoga space where it's like, yeah, I don't know if you follow like the trap yoga babe, but like, yes.
No, but I'm going to.
Yeah, girl. Like, yes, you can do yoga to trap music. Like, you can do yoga to whatever you want. Like, if that's the thing that gives you the vibe that you need, if it's rock music, if it's country, I don't know, do your thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, do whatever you need to do. But it is that's like, people sometimes feel like the spirituality space must be like all wind chimes and mad incense. I mean, I do love me some incense. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be that.
So before we go, tell us what else do you have? Because do you still have like, you have t-shirts and bags and like, right? You got a bunch of other stuff going on, right?
Girl, so yeah, yes and no. So here I go. This is what happens. I'm tearing that down too.
Okay.
So yes and no. I don't even have it around here with me. I did start to put like because people were saying like, oh, I like to have my affirmations kind of like in front of me. So I did drop them on magnets. I have like some sayings on t-shirts. There are times where I just like randomly get inspired. So I got some petty mugs because I do my 9 to 5 is like regular work, Zoom life. And actually, I was having a conversation with LaQuana from Alter Therapy, and we were talking about work. And I was like, "Listen, every time I'm on a Zoom, I'm just like, you go ahead and fire me then. Like, I'm gonna just say what I'm gonna say." And I was like, you know what? That needs to be on the mug. And so I put it on the mug.
I saw that. And I was like, I'm self-employed, but I really want this mug. Like, I can tell my husband and my kids, like, well, fire me then.
Yeah, like, what? I didn't do it right. Oh, okay. Oh, you don't like the way I sound? Oh, okay. I don't know what to tell you. And so there's stuff like that. I think one of the things that we'll see, I brought down the only thing that are currently up are the mugs and my magnets. And part of that is because one of the other things that I am like in the space, like struggling with a little bit is that like, I'm real particular about like fulfillment and shipping and like the energy that comes along with that. I know for some people that might sound like a little wild, but like all of the cards, when I send them out, like I package every single one of those cards, right? Like myself. And so when you get something, like I want you to like feel like it's from me and I want it to be from me and I want you to feel good about it. And so sometimes when you're doing some of this other stuff like the drop, the on-demand, print on demand. Yeah, I can make a grip. Like, I guess people are making tons and tons of money using that stuff, but there's also this space where I'm just like,
where it's not personal.
Where it's not personal. And I'm like, no, I would like to personally wrap your mug and put a little magnet in there.
Yeah.
you need a handwritten note. Like, I'm about like customer service. I'm about like just people feel good. And so there's a space where like that print on demand doesn't do it for me. So now I'm trying to figure out how I can give people still that like Black Girl Flourish touch without me having to spend like 2 G's to keep mugs in the house. Yeah. I just don't know.
No, I get it. Yeah, no, I get it. I love Etsy sellers. Like that joke, like that internet joke that like goes around that's like, I ordered something from Etsy and I opened it and like a paper butterfly and a bunch of sparkles and a pink starburst fell out and it was like hand packaged with like perfume or something. I'm like, yeah, that's what I love. I freaking love that. Like,
I got this little sage spray that I'm
like, yeah, that's so much better than getting something from Amazon. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I really like that. And so I started being like, I'm about to be a mogul. And now I'm like, no, but I really wanted to, and I'm okay with that. Like, I am okay, which I'm sure that these people on the Clubhouse in the places where they talk about making money are like, you sound crazy. But I would much more prefer to grow slower if I can keep that like personal touch / like, I just want you to feel good when you get my stuff, you know, like, and then I don't know if you feel, and this might be the lawyer in me. I have a problem with control. So let's talk about that a little bit. I have a problem with control. And so I want to be able to tell you like, yes, I dropped it in the mail on this date and this is what it is. When you're doing kind of some of that like mass and bulk stuff, you don't have as much control, and I can't like give you this. I'm super big on customer service, like, and I want you to trust me because like all of that. And I just can't do that with that stuff. So I got girl.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I know how that is because I mean, money makes the world go round. And like I always tell people, like for my readings and stuff, like as long as diapers and snacks cost money, like I'm gonna have to charge, like I'm gonna have to charge you. But like I really want to keep it personal and you know do all the stuff, and because the connections is what's really fulfilling for me. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. I respect that for sure.
There's stuff on there. There's just the magnets in the mugs right now. Okay. And so like figure out messing around with me, I'm gonna end up with a cricket. Child, I don't know. We don't see how it girl. I'm gonna be in my office like yeah, I just don't know. Anything so that I could package this nicely and put it in some paper and
for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I will put all of the links down below so that you can get all connected, fully connected with Black Girl Flourish on Instagram, on Etsy, on Clubhouse, which I will also try to get myself connected to Clubhouse. But thank you so much for joining us today, and I can't wait to see what comes next. And we will see you guys back for another video.
Hi, everyone. Bye. And thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.